my Darwin poems to the audience when he was being inducted into the Royal Society of Science. There's your arts and sciences together again. I thought that was an extremely nice thing for him to do, and we've been steadfast friends ever since. As busy as he is, to take out time to be a friend to somebody over here in Kentucky. Well, I'm here to testify that he's one of the most caring, kind, and compassionate human beings that you could ever hope to meet. And he's most generous of himself and of his resources. The foundation that he has founded gives thousands and thousands of dollars for disaster relief around the world. But the most important thing you need to know about Richard Dawkins is that he is not a delusion. He's here in flesh and blood. A big Eastern Kentucky welcome for Richard Dawkins.
Dot, and thank you everybody. Dot and I have been pen friends for a very long time, but amazingly, this is the first day we have actually met in person, though we've been corresponding for many years. Now we have another rumble going on. Did anybody else hear it?
Yes, one.
I was delighted to hear Sean Fairclough's speech and to welcome him to the Richard Dawkins Foundation. His book, you see there, is on display at the back and on sale, and he'll be signing it alongside me signing my books at the end. My own book, The Magic of Reality, written with 12-year-olds in mind, as you might guess from the fact that it's illustrated, heavily illustrated, but it's actually a book for all ages. Maybe one could even say a book for the ages. There are 12 chapters. Most chapters follow the same format. Each chapter begins with a question like, what is the sun? Who was the first person? What is a rainbow? What is an earthquake? Each chapter begins with myths about the subject, myths about the sun, myths about earthquakes, and so on. And then we get to the main part of the chapter, which is the science. What really is the sun? What really is a rainbow? What really is an earthquake? The first chapter introduces the idea of magic, which I divide into three. Supernatural magic, Cinderella's fairy godmother turning a pumpkin into a coach, or frogs turning into a prince. Illusion, conjuring, stage magic, which of course is just tricks. And finally, poetic magic, the one that I mean in my title. We're moved to tears by a beautiful piece of music, and we describe the performance as magical. We gaze up at the stars on a dark night with no light pollution. Breathless with joy, we say the sight of the Milky Way is pure magic. We use the same word to describe sunset over Grand Canyon, or an alpine landscape, or a rainbow against a dark sky. In this sense, magical just means moving, exhilarating, something that gives us goosebumps, something that makes us feel more fully alive. What this book tries to show is that reality, the facts of the real world, as understood through the methods of science, reality is magical in this third sense, the poetic sense, the good to be alive sense. Supernatural magic. It isn't just that frogs, as a matter of fact, don't turn into princes. There's a deeper reason why supernatural magic cannot happen. Frogs and princes and coaches are complicated things with many parts that need to be put together in a special way, a special pattern that doesn't just happen by accident. If they're not put together in that special pattern, they just don't work. Complicated means statistically improbable. And I'm talking about statistically improbable in a specific direction which you can specify in advance as being good for something. In the case of a prince, I'm not really sure what that's good for, but... Let's make it a bit easier for Cinderella's fairy godmother by supposing that instead of calling for a pumpkin, she had called for all the parts you need for assembling a coach. An IKEA kit for making a coach. All the planks of wood